welcome to our deep dive into the J1 visa.
The J1.
You've shared some official documentation with us, and
Right.
it's honestly way more interesting than I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to explore the less obvious parts of the J1
Okay.
that you might not know about.
There certainly are some surprising details tucked away in those regulations.
Okay, all right, let's jump right in.
Yeah.
One of the first things that caught my eye
Okay.
was the 2-year home residency requirement.
Oh, yeah. That one.
It's a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
So this rule means that after you wrap up your J1 program in the U.S.,
Right.
you generally need to head back to your home country for 2 years
Oh, wow.
before you can apply for certain other U.S. visas,
Okay.
like immigrant visas, temporary worker visas, or even intra-company transferee visas.
So even if you fall in love,
Right.
get married, or start a family here,
Yeah.
there's no getting around that 2-year trip back home.
And unfortunately, not on all. Marrying a U.S. citizen or having a child in the U.S. doesn't exempt you from the requirement.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation for some J1 visa holders to navigate.
That really highlights how important it is to understand the J1
Right.
before coming to the U.S.
Absolutely.
But tell me who exactly is subject to this rule.
Yeah.
It can't apply to everyone, right?
Sure, you're right. It's not a blanket rule.
Okay.
It primarily affects those whose programs are funded by their government
Okay.
or the U.S. government. Think of scholarships,
Uh-huh.
grants, or government-sponsored exchange programs.
That makes sense. So if your program is self-funded,
Mm-hmm.
you're likely in the clear.
Not necessarily. Another group subject to the rule.
Okay.
Are individuals developing skills considered in short supply back home?
Skills in short supply.
Yes.
Can you unpack that a bit for us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It refers to specific fields
Okay.
where there's a significant shortage of qualified professionals
Okay.
in the J1 visa holder's home country.
Got it.
Take certain medical specialties, for example.
Yeah.
Imagine a country lacking neurosurgeons.
Right.
If a doctor from that country comes to the U.S. on a J1
Yeah.
to train in neurosurgery,
Uh-huh.
they'd likely be subject to the rule.
Makes sense.
The same could apply to highly specialized tech fields,
Oh.
like artificial intelligence
Right.
or cybersecurity,
Yeah.
where global demand outstrips the available talent.
So it's not just about funding.
Right.
It's about ensuring that the skills and knowledge gained in the U.S.
Exactly.
are shared back home
Yes.
to contribute to their development.
Precisely. The 2-year home residency requirement aims to foster a genuine exchange of expertise,
Right.
preventing a potential brain drain from developing countries.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now let's shift gears and talk about timeframes.
Okay.
How long can someone actually stay in the U.S. on a J1?
That depends entirely on the specific program category.
Okay.
Some J1 stays are short and sweet,
Uh-huh.
while others can span several years.
Okay, so let's break it down a bit. Can you give us some examples? How long can students typically stay?
Students pursuing a full course of study towards a degree
Right.
can usually stay for the duration of their program.
Oh.
For non-degree programs, it's typically capped at 24 months,
Okay.
with the possibility of academic training extensions afterwards.
Okay, so students have a decent amount of time to immerse themselves
Right.
in the American education system.
Yes.
What about professionals, like teachers?
Teachers generally have a maximum stay of 3 years,
Okay.
which allows them to gain valuable experience in a different educational setting.
Okay. And for professors and research scholars conducting research in the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
it can be up to 5 years.
That's right.
And what about those medical specialists we talked about earlier?
Yeah,
The ones in high demand,
Mhm.
their training programs can be quite lengthy, right?
absolutely. Medical residents, for instance,
Yeah.
can be on a J1 for up to 7 years.
Wow.
And even then, there's a chance for extensions,
Really?
if approved by the U.S. Department of State.
Wow.
It really underscores the specialized nature of their training.
7 years is a significant chunk of time.
It is.
It seems like the J1 program is really tailored to fit the specific goals
Exactly.
of each exchange, whether it's a short-term research project
Right.
or a multi-year medical residency.
The program's flexibility is one of its key strengths.
Yeah.
It's designed to accommodate a wide range of objectives
Okay.
and professional fields.
Speaking of flexibility,
Yeah.
what happens if life throws a curveball and your plans change
Uh-huh.
while you're here on a J1?
Okay.
Let's say you want to extend your stay or even transfer to a different program.
Right.
What's the process like?
That's where Form DS 2019 comes in.
The DS 2019.
If you're looking to extend your J1 program
Right.
or transfer to a new one,
Okay.
this form is absolutely essential.
So it's not as simple as just deciding to stay longer or switch programs.
Not quite. Think of the DS 2019 as a permission slip
Okay.
signed by your program sponsor. They need to approve any extensions or transfers,
Okay.
ensuring they align with the goals of the J1 program.
It sounds like the sponsor organization plays a pretty significant role in all of this.
They absolutely do.
Uh,
They're responsible for monitoring your progress throughout your J1 stay,
uh-huh.
making sure you're meeting the program's objectives and complying with all the visa requirements.
Right.
They're also there to provide support, answer your questions,
Okay.
and help you navigate the ins and outs of living and working in the U.S.
So it's like having a dedicated guide throughout your J1 experience.
You could say that.
So no going rogue and switching programs on a whim.
Right.
You need that sponsor's approval.
Exactly. It's all about maintaining the integrity of the program
Okay.
and ensuring everyone's on the same page.
Now I'm curious about travel. Can J1 visa holders travel outside the U.S.
Yes.
and still maintain their status?
You are allowed to travel internationally
Okay.
and keep your J1 status.
Okay.
However, there's a catch.
There's always a catch, isn't there? What is it?
Your travel needs to fall within the dates specified
Okay.
on your DS 2019 form.
Okay.
Think of it as your approved travel window,
Uh-huh.
authorized by your sponsor.
So no impromptu European adventures.
Right.
Everything needs to be pre-planned and documented.
Precisely. It's all about staying within the framework of your J1 program
Got it.
and keeping your sponsor informed.
Okay. All right, let's tackle the big question.
Yeah.
That's probably on everyone's mind.
Okay.
Can you swap your J1 for a different visa
Yeah.
while you're still in the U.S.? Like if you decide you want to stay longer term.
This is where things get a bit tricky.
Oh, okay.
If you're subject to that 2-year home residency rule we
Right.
talked about earlier,
Yeah.
it's generally not possible to switch to another visa
Okay.
while you're in the U.S.
So no changing teams mid-game.
There are very limited exceptions,
Okay.
mainly for people employed by certain government agencies or international organizations. But those are very specific cases.
Choosing the J1 visa is clearly a decision that shouldn't be taken lightly.
Right.
You really need to grasp the long-term implications.
Absolutely. Understanding the nuances of the J1
All right.
and how it might impact your future plans is crucial.
Now let's move on to a topic that's essential but often overlooked.
Okay.
Insurance.
Yes.
What are the insurance requirements for J1 visa holders?
Having the right insurance is non-negotiable
Oh,
for
yeah.
J1 participants.
Mhm.
The regulations are quite specific to
Sounds-
protect both the individual and the U.S. government from potential financial burdens.
So what exactly are the requirements? What kind of coverage do you need?
Firstly, your health insurance must provide at least $100,000 in coverage
Okay.
per accident or illness.
That's a substantial amount
It is.
to cover potential medical expenses.
Right.
That makes sense. What else is required?
There's also a repatriation of remains coverage requirement
Okay.
of $25,000.
Repatriation of remains. That sounds a bit grim.
It's not the most cheerful topic. Yeah. But it's a necessary one.
Okay.
This coverage ensures that if the unthinkable happens,
Uh-huh.
your remains can be transported back to your home country.
That's a responsible, albeit somber, requirement.
Yes.
Is there anything else?
Yes. Medical evacuation coverage is also mandatory
Okay.
and needs to be at least $50,000.
Medical evacuation.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that entails?
It covers the cost of transporting you to another medical facility
Okay.
if you need specialized care that's not available locally.
Okay.
Imagine a scenario where you're in a remote area
Right.
and require treatment not available there.
Right.
Medical evacuation would cover the cost of getting you to the appropriate facility.
That definitely provides peace of mind.
It does.
So all these insurance requirements seem pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
Why are they so strict?
As I mentioned, it's about protecting both the J1 visa holder and the U.S. government from the financial burden of unexpected health issues.
Right.
It's a safety net that ensures everyone is covered in case of emergencies.
It sounds like they've really thought of everything.
They have.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our J1 deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
But there's still so much more to explore.
Absolutely. We've only just scratched the surface of the J1 visa world.
Right.
There are many more layers to unpack,
Okay.
from the cultural exchange aspects to the long-term impact on participants' lives.
Stay tuned for part 2 of our J1 exploration,
Okay.
where we'll delve into those fascinating aspects and more.
Sounds good.
All right, see you there.
See you there.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the J1 visa. So far,
The J1.
we've delved into the technicalities, the rules,
Right.
and the requirements.
Okay.
But now I'd love to explore the human side of this experience.
Okay.
What's it actually like to be a J1 participant in the U.S.?
That's a great question. Because beyond the paperwork and regulations,
Right.
there's a whole world of personal growth, cultural exchange,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes unexpected challenges.
Let's dive into that. Imagine you're a young researcher,
Okay.
fresh off the plane from, let's say, South Korea,
Okay.
stepping into a bustling American university lab for the first time.
Right.
What are some of the hurdles you might face
Yeah.
beyond just getting settled in?
One of the first things that I can hit you is culture shock.
Culture shock.
Even if you're fluent in English,
Right.
navigating the nuances of a new culture,
Uh-huh.
the unspoken rules, the social cues,
Right.
it can be overwhelming at times.
It's like stepping into a whole different world, even if you've
It is.
read about it and studied the language.
Exactly. And then there's the challenge of building a social network from scratch.
Oh, yeah?
You're in a new city, perhaps far from your family and friends,
Right.
and you need to create a support system from the ground up.
That sense of isolation can be tough,
It can.
especially during those initial months
Yeah,
when everything feels so new and unfamiliar.
absolutely. It's a sink or swim situation.
Right.
But here's the thing that often pushes J1 participants to grow in remarkable ways. They have to step outside their comfort zone,
Uh-huh.
adapt to new situations,
Mm.
and find creative solutions.
So it's about turning those challenges into opportunities for
It is
personal development.
precisely. It's about resilience, resourcefulness,
Uh-huh.
and embracing the unknown.
Right.
And amidst all that,
Yeah.
you're exposed to incredible new experiences.
Right.
You're immersed in a different culture,
Mm-hmm.
meeting people from diverse backgrounds,
Yeah.
and broadening your horizons in ways you couldn't have imagined back home.
It sounds like a crash course in global citizenship.
You could say that.
Yeah?
You're developing intercultural communication skills,
Right.
learning to navigate different perspectives,
Uh-huh.
and gaining a deeper understanding of the world beyond your own borders.
And those are invaluable skills no matter where life takes you afterwards.
They are.
But let's be real.
Right.
Not every J1 experience is a smooth ride. There must be potential downsides too, right?
There are, unfortunately.
Okay.
One issue that sometimes surfaces is the potential for exploitation.
Exploitation.
Some J1 participants, particularly in certain fields,
Right.
find themselves overworked, underpaid, or even mistreated by their host organizations.
That's awful.
Yeah.
How can people protect themselves from such situations?
Thorough research is key before committing to any program.
Okay.
Talk to former J1 participants.
Ah.
Read reviews online and ask pointed questions during interviews.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself
Right.
and ensure your rights are respected.
So it's all about being informed, empowered,
Yes.
and not being afraid to speak up.
Exactly. And remember,
Yeah.
your sponsor organization and the U.S. Department of State are there to support you.
Okay.
If you encounter any issues,
Right.
don't hesitate to seek their help.
Another challenge that often arises
Yeah.
is reverse culture shock. That sounds intriguing.
Reverse culture shock.
What exactly is it?
Imagine this. You spent months or even years
Right.
immersed in American culture.
Right.
You've adapted, grown, and maybe even adopted some of the local customs.
Uh-huh.
Then you return home,
Yeah.
and suddenly things feel different.
Different how?
You might feel like a stranger in your own land.
That's fascinating. It's like experiencing culture shock all over again,
It is.
but in reverse.
Precisely. Your values might have shifted.
Wow.
Your perspectives broadened.
Right.
And your expectations of home
Yeah.
may no longer align with reality. It can be a disorienting experience.
So how can J1 participants prepare for this
Yeah.
potential reverse culture shock?
Staying connected to your roots while you're abroad is crucial.
Okay, how do you do that?
Keep in touch with family and friends back home.
Mm-hmm.
Follow news and events from your country.
Okay.
And engage with your culture in meaningful ways.
Okay.
It's about finding a balance between embracing the new and cherishing the old.
And when you return home, be patient with yourself.
Yes.
Allow time for readjustment.
Right.
Reconnect with loved ones.
Uh-huh.
And perhaps even connect with other J1 returnees who understand what you're going through.
Those are great suggestions.
Yeah.
The J1 journey might officially end
Right.
when your visa expires,
Mm.
but its impact can resonate for years to come,
Yeah.
shaping your career, your relationships, and your worldview.
We've talked about the challenges and the growth opportunities.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the incredible connections
Yes.
that are often forged during a J1 experience.
Right.
The friendships made, the mentorships formed.
Yeah.
Those can leave a lasting mark.
Absolutely. Those bonds often transcend borders.
Yeah.
Creating a network of support and understanding
Right.
that enriches lives long after the J1 program ends.
It's a reminder that the human element
Yes.
is at the heart of this exchange program.
It is.
It's not just about visas and regulations.
Right.
It's about people connecting, sharing experiences,
Yeah.
and building bridges between cultures.
Well said. It's about fostering empathy, understanding, and a sense of global community. It's about recognizing our shared humanity,
Right.
even amidst our differences.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I'd like to circle back to the sponsor organization.
That's possible.
We touched on their role earlier,
Right.
but I'd love to delve a bit deeper
Okay.
into what they do and why they're so important.
They're often the unsung heroes of the J1 experience,
Oh, wow.
working tirelessly behind the scenes to facilitate the entire process.
Okay.
They act as a crucial link
Uh-huh.
between the J1 participant,
Okay.
the host organization, and the U.S. government.
So they're more than just paperwork processors.
Much more. They wear many hats, starting with screening potential J1 participants
Okay.
to ensure they meet the eligibility criteria for their chosen program.
Right.
They're also responsible for issuing the all-important form DS 2019,
Right.
which is essential for visa approval.
That DS 2019 seems to be the golden ticket.
It is.
For J1 applicants,
Yes.
what else do sponsor organizations handle?
They monitor the J1 participants' progress throughout their stay in the U.S.,
Right.
making sure they're meeting the program objectives
Okay.
and complying with all the visa requirements.
Right.
And perhaps most importantly,
Yeah.
they provide ongoing support,
Okay.
answering questions, addressing concerns,
Yeah.
and helping participants navigate any challenges that arise.
It sounds like choosing the right sponsor organization
It is.
can make a huge difference in the overall J1 experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want an organization with a proven track record,
Right.
a strong reputation for ethical practices, and a genuine commitment to supporting their J1 participants.
So to all the sponsor organizations out there, we applaud your dedication
Thank you.
and the vital role you play in making this exchange program a success.
We appreciate that.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we want to leave you with this thought. The J1 visa is more than just a legal document.
Right.
It's a key that unlocks a world of possibilities.
It is. It's a chance to learn, grow, connect, and make a lasting impact,
Right.
both personally and professionally.
So to those considering the J1 path,
Yes.
embrace the adventure. Stay tuned for part 3,
Okay.
where we'll explore the broader impact of this program on a global scale. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the J1 visa.
The J1.
We've explored the intricacies of the program, the human experiences it sparks, and even some potential challenges.
Yeah.
But now I want to zoom out
Okay.
and consider the bigger picture.
The big picture.
What's the impact of this program on a global scale?
It's fascinating to consider the ripple effects that extend
Right.
far beyond the individual participants.
Yeah.
When you think about it, the J1 isn't just about bringing people to the U.S. It's about fostering connections, understanding, and collaborations across borders.
It's like building bridges between nations one exchange at a time. It is. And when you look at the vast network of J1 alumni worldwide,
Yeah.
the collective impact they've had is truly impressive.
It's a global community of individuals who've shared this unique experience,
Right.
learned from each other, and continue to carry those lessons forward in their personal and professional lives.
Imagine the possibilities. You have doctors who trained in the U.S., returning to their home countries with advanced medical skills,
Right.
ready to make a difference in their communities.
Exactly. You have researchers who collaborated with American scientists,
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries of knowledge in their respective fields, leading to breakthroughs that benefit us all.
You have teachers who've experienced the American education system firsthand,
Right.
bringing innovative teaching methods to their classrooms,
Yeah.
inspiring future generations.
And you have entrepreneurs who've launched businesses based on their experiences in the U.S., creating jobs and stimulating economic growth in their home countries.
It's a ripple effect that transcends borders, industries, and cultures.
It is.
It all starts with that initial spark,
Yeah.
that decision to embark on a J1 exchange adventure.
It's a testament to the power of human connection.
Yeah.
the transformative potential of cultural exchange, and the enduring legacy of the J1 program.
It's a program that benefits not just the participants,
Right.
but also the world at large, fostering a more interconnected and understanding global community.
And that's what makes it so remarkable.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even in a world often divided by differences,
Right.
there's a shared human experience that binds us together.
Programs like the J1 tap into that shared humanity, encouraging empathy, tolerance, and a sense of global citizenship.
Absolutely.
It underscores the idea that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves.
Yes.
And that by learning from each other, we can create a more harmonious world.
Well said.
And on that inspiring note, we've reached the end of our J1 deep dive. We've explored the technicalities, the human experiences, and the far-reaching impact of this incredible program.
It is an incredible program.
We hope you've gained valuable insights into the J1 visa.
I hope so.
Whether you're considering this path for yourself,
Right?
or simply curious about the world of international exchange.
It's a fascinating world.
As always, we encourage you to keep exploring.
Yes.
Delve deeper into the topics that pique your interest.
Right.
And never stop learning.
Absolutely.
Because knowledge, like the J1 experience itself, has the power to transform lives.
It does.
And shape the world around us.
Remember, the J1 journey might end. But its impact can resonate for a lifetime.
Right.
It's a legacy of connections, experiences, and a global perspective that can enrich your personal and professional life.
So to all the past, present, and future J1 participants, we commend you for embracing this incredible opportunity.
You're the bridge builders, the cultural ambassadors, and the embodiment of the transformative power of exchange.
Keep shining your light on the world.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.